Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam, and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Pickup Artist, a game coming to crowdfunding soon.
Pickup Artist is a roll and move game in which you are going to be trying to pursue your love interest at Drom's University, where you're a student practicing art. But that's really not what you're there for, as is the case for a lot of college kids.
MRS degree.
Yeah, you might be getting your MRS degree. And so, yeah, you are trying to beef up your stats and your traits that you know your particular love interest has a attraction to, because maybe they're really into kindness. And so you need to really boost up your kindness trait so that you can catch the eye of that particular person. There's a lot of dice rolling in this one, a lot of card play, a lot of fun quirkiness about this particular game. Let me show you how it works down below, and then we'll come back and share our thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer. All right, I have Pickup Artists on the table. Let me show you guys how this roll and move game is going to work. Now, I do want to let you know everything you see here is prototype, so the final artwork, components, and maybe even some of the rules might change once it's released from crowdfunding. That being said, let's get into this. So you do have a board here, and this is going to be your campus. And so the theme is that you are going to university here, and you are trying to pick up someone, whether that be Miss Cassie Ames, let's say, or Mira Milan. These are just a couple of the examples, and there are lots of different examples of people that you could try and pick up in this game. And you do have, for every single one that you have here, you've got a female side and a male side, but then there are also some of the ones that are in here. Let's see if I can find it real quick. There's a cat. And so you have some that are just kind of off the wall in this game as well. So each person that you are trying to pick up has their own different specifics about them. And the smiley face here tells you whether or not this is an easier person to play with for the game, or you might have some that are kind of in between, or you have some that are much more difficult. And so you are going to select who you are trying to pick up for this game. And you can play this game in several different modes. You can play it where each person is going after the same person, because you do have multiples here. You have enough for each person to go after the same person, and you're all trying to pick up the same person per se. Or you can have it so that each person is picking up someone different, and they're trying to court and go out with somebody different, and whoever is able to get 10 points in that particular game is going to win the game. And so you can have multiple winners. You can also play this in teams, where you'll have 2 people on each team. So this is for 4 players, and each team is not really a team, because you're competing against that particular person in your team for one particular love interest. And so one team may be going for Cassie Ames, while the other is going for Mira Milan, and whoever did better between those 2 people to win their love interest's heart, those are going to be the winners. And so you'll have 2 winners in that particular game. So that's the theme and idea and goal of the game. Let me explain to you how a round works. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to look and see what day of the week is. So at the beginning of the week, it's Monday. And so Miss Cassie Ames, she's going to be in the computer lab. So we find where the computer lab is, and it's right here at the bottom left of the board. And we take Cassie's token here and we place her in the computer lab, because that is where she's at on Monday. This is our day tracker over here. And we have a round tracker over here. We make sure to start each day on round 1. A turn is very simple. You simply take the D6, you roll it, and you're able to move that number of spaces. Now, the one rule about movement is that you cannot go to a spot that you are already at on that particular turn. So for instance, if I started here, I could not go 1, 2, 3. I could not do that. That is illegal. You have to go different routes. And so 1, 2, 3, that would be legal. Wherever I end up landing, I'm going to take one of my tokens and put it on the spot where I ended my movement, and I will gain the bonus for whatever I landed on. If it is a colored spot on the board, I'm going to simply raise that track on my board 1 notch. So I stopped on a red charm spot here, because red is for charm, and I bump it up 1 spot. Now, each of these represents a different personality trait, and you can see what they are all here on this side of the board. And if I advance my token to the perk spot here, I am able to use the perk ability at some point on my turn. And each of these do different things. Now, if I advance all the way to the end here, I am going to get 1 point, and that is good because points help me to win the game. And so you are trying to bump up your traits here, but the traits that you really want to bump up are the ones that your love interest deems is important to him or her. And so Cassie here, she really enjoys the yellow kindness, the blue teracity, and the purple humor. That's what's important to her, so those are the ones I want to focus in on. And so I would try and make sure that I take up those spots because this is first come, first serve. And once these are covered up, you are not going to be able to do them again. And so the other players would be covering these spaces up as well as they move their person. Now, after you've moved yourself and all players have gone, you will bump this down. And so you'll have 5 turns before the end of the day. Now, there are also buildings out here that you can get to, and those will also beef up your traits for the matching color, and you don't put a token on these spots. These are always available to you. Now, by the end of the 5th round, you want to make sure that you are able to get over here to your love interest to be able to do what's called an affection roll. And how an affection roll works is you will take this D6 here, and it is different. It has numbers 1 through 3, and then some spots have multiple numbers on them. And you will roll that die, and whatever numbers come up, so for instance, I got 1 and 2 here. Taking a look back at Cassie's player board here, or personality card, 1 and 2 are the kindness and teracity, the yellow and the blue traits. And so I would take a look at my player board and I would see how much yellow and blue I have been able to acquire throughout that part of the game. And so at the beginning here, I don't have any yellow or blue. That's not good. I have 0, but let's just say that I had maybe 1 of each. So I have 2 right now. And taking a look at the card here on Monday, the number right here is 3, and that means I need 3 in order to make a successful affection roll for Cassie's heart. And so I only have 2. I need some help here. I roll the D6, and I add whatever I roll, and 2 plus 4 is 6, which is more than 3, and so I am successful in my affection roll for Cassie's heart, or at least on Monday anyway, and I get to bump up this bottom track here for plus 2 points. And so you can see I want to try and bump this up as much as I can because that's where I'm going to get majority of my points, but I'm also going to be getting points if I max out some of these traits. Now, as the game progresses and the week goes on, the numbers get higher, and so it's harder and harder to be able to make successful affection rolls. And taking a look at some of the harder characters in the game to pursue, obviously Mira's numbers here are a lot higher than Cassie's, so she is much more difficult to pursue. Now, I've got another track here. This is the Mojo track. And I beef that up by going to these spots on the board, the rainbow stars. And as I beef this up, I gain 2 perks here that I can use on affection rolls. The first one is that I can re-roll the affection die to change up what traits are going to be looked at for this particular turn. And then if I get to perk number 2, I can re-roll the movement die to change how much extra I get from this die in addition to my traits that I have on my board here. And so that's that. That's pretty much the gist of how a round works. After 5 rounds is over, we reset the board by changing the day. All players go back to the center of the quad. We leave out these tokens because these will stay out here for the entirety of the game. And we take a look at where our love interest is going to be at for the next round. On Tuesday, she's going to the VA Center. And so we move her way up here. She's over here at the Visual Arts Center, and we would restart the process. Now, there are other spots on the board real quick. I'll cover those. If you go to an exclamation point, you get to draw an event card, and these are just silly, fun little interactions. They give you some flavor text, and they're going to have you look at your different traits here, and it's a test of teracity and brawn. Or tenacity, sorry. I keep saying teracity. It's tenacity. I'm sorry for that. charm or brawn for this particular one. Anyhow, you're going to count up your points here for both of those traits, and you'll compare it to this chart over here, and depending on how many points you have determines what your choices are available to you, and you'll choose a choice and you'll gain a benefit or some outcome based off of what you choose. Now, a lot of these are going to be only for the person who pulls the card, but there are going to be some that are for the entire group, such as this one, a group event here, and so all players will choose an outcome for themselves. So these are the event cards. You do also have action cards in the game, and you will get some of these every round, but you can also get some by going to the action card spaces on the board, and these are going to let you be able to play them whenever the card allows you to do so. And some of these cards help you. Some of these cards will be take that against your opponents. And so there's a lot going on here with these action cards. The last thing that I'll cover happens for you at the very end of the game. You have a third set of cards, and you are only going to use 2 of these in every game. So you have a lot of replayability here with these particular cards because you will select 2, and at the end of the game, you'll reveal these 2, and they'll award extra victory points to whoever fulfilled these cards the best. You'll get 2 points for each one, and that's going to shake up the final scoring. And as I mentioned at the top of the video, depending on the game mode that you've selected for this particular play, you'll either have only one winner if you are selecting for everybody to go after the same love interests, and that will be the person who has the most points. However, if everybody chose differing love interests, then you'll have multiple winners. For everybody who got at least 10 points will be a winner in that particular game. And then again, if you're playing the team mode, you'll have 2 winners. You'll have a winner for each person who had the most points for the 2 different love interests. And that's what you have here with Pickup Artists. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this one. And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on Pickup Artists from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. So, Sam, I got to point this out real quick because I didn't notice it until just getting into doing this video, but the name is Pickup Artists, and you're at an art university, so you're an artist. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Good play on words there. But yeah, you are a pickup artist, and you are trying to pick up that particular love interest. What did you think of the theme with this one?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I was telling Lance before we started this video that it kind of reminds me vaguely a more modernized version of Dream Phone. If 80s, 90s girls remember that game.
I remember it.
I can only talk to boys on it. But yeah, you're trying to do things to get to your right match.
Mm-hmm.
But it does have more modernized. I think more modernized toward today, but it still seems a little vintage too.
Yeah, definitely does. You know, it's the classic roll and move kind of experience with the game, but I think it does add a little bit of strategy and gameplay to it with the idea that you can go anywhere you want in this particular game. You're not just on a circular loop or a loop that zigzags and goes around and around. You can go wherever you want. You just can't backtrack and go where you just were. And you want to get to those more favorable spots on the board before everybody else because first come, first serve.
Yeah.
And so that does add a level of strategy to this particular game. But it's otherwise, it's a light and quirky game. Yeah. What did you think about the, I think there's a humor aspect to this game as well. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I thought it was a game that I could see playing with, some college friends or at a sleepover or something like that. Not saying that we didn't also really enjoy it, but it's quirky and funny. And, I think they did a really good job with the artwork and everything on it. It's just very vibrant and interesting and draws you in.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the actual gameplay experience is one that you are going to want to try and beef up those stats and be smart about the ones that you're really beefing up. But at the same time, you want to beef them all up because that gives you the extra points. And you want to make those affection rolls. So what was that like for you as the non-gamer?
Yeah, I definitely think it was more on the easy side. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much a gamer would really want to play this. I can't imagine a gamer playing this with a lot of other gamers. But I think this is great. Me and Lance had a fun time playing it together. Yeah. The rules are very easy to understand. It's easy to get your traits moved up. So it's just one of those light games.
Yeah.
But it's easy to understand and enjoyable.
And it's light. It's light in a good sense for the take that aspect that kind of comes with this game, because some of those cards do have some take that, but it's so light that it's not going to be something that really burns you because I've been building up to this big turn for the last 5 moves and you just squashed me with one card and now the whole game is broken. It's ruined. You don't have that with this because it's just like, okay, I'll just do this instead kind of experience. And it's light and it's fun and you know.
We've had, in the last couple of years, we've had a small amount of like relationship games, but they all tend to be kind of heavy and a lot, you're working on all these different traits, and by the end of it, I'm like, I don't want to be in this relationship. But this is
too much work.
This was definitely a fun. It's more of a fling than a relationship,
which really fits with the college theme of trying to pursue that person that you think is really hot and attractive or whatever. So the gameplay fits with the theme. It fits with the quirkiness, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was a great one to get to the table and experience. So. The game is Pickup Artist. It's on crowdfunding, so make sure to check the link to the campaign page down below now that you've watched our video, and leave us some comments down below. Let us know what you think about this game.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.